Nobody lives in
I saw a concerning post on our LA Metro, and that is Metro has canceled the community meetings about the EIR drafts of the Sepulveda line. These meetings were supposed to be going on this weekend, which if you're listening in the future is the first weekend of April 2025. Metro claims that the meetings will be rescheduled. However, there are rumors going around that they may be trying to kill the Sepulveda line outright without ever releasing the EIRs. We cannot state how terrible that would be for LA Transit. The Reddit community suggests reaching out to Councilmember Yaroslavsky and Supervisor Horvath and emailing your local representatives and calling them to make a stink about it. Specifically, voice support for rescheduling these meetings and also support for heavy rail alternatives number 4 and 5. We'll post the contact info and related Reddit posts in the show notes. Apart from that, though, we have some good news coming out of the K-Town Pio Pico Library. And that is this episode with our special guest, Ivy Kwok. Ivy is a mass transit enthusiast, a PhD student in environmental engineering, and a member of the Society of Women Engineers. We talked about riding Metrolink to dates, pogo-sticking, surviving the Culver City 6 bus, and Ivy's then impending trips abroad. Ivy is one of our most engaged and supportive listeners online, and that's why we asked her to come on. Eric would like me to mention that if you are an engaged and supportive listener, perhaps you too could be a future guest. Regardless, please reach out and let us know what you like, what you'd like to hear about, and who you'd like us to have on in future episodes. Well, all right, here we go. Welcome to Nobody Drives in LA, a car-free Los Angeles podcast where we talk about the perils, pleasures, and misadventures of getting around the great city of Los Angeles without a car. I am the editor of the podcast and one of the hosts, Kyle, and we are also joined by...
I'm Eric. I'm the other host, the co-host, you might say.
And we have a special guest today, who is...
Hi, my name's Ivy.
You're a listener, fan, car-free person of the podcast, right? Like
that would be accurate.
I know. How did we get you in here? I know Eric was mainly spearheading that chain, but
I think I commented, or your question segment thing, I submitted something, and I think that's how it started.
For the Ask Us Anything, yeah.
So to get started for this episode, our first hard-hitting question is, how did you get here? Both physically, how did you get to the Koreatown Pio Pico Media Lab to record? And in the broad sense, how did you get where you are now today?
The transit.
Yeah.
And transit using Angelino.
Eric, you can start.
Oh, well, I took my normal I took the exact... I always think about how I should do it differently just to make it a more interesting story. So today I was going to come to Koreatown earlier and then walk around, but because it's windy and a little bit rainy today and I love this weather, but I didn't. I waited to the last minute and I took the bus to the train and it was totally uneventful, just like it pretty much always is. I did have a family who, in the train station, who were trying to figure out how to get to Sunset, Vermont, to then take the shuttle up to the Hollywood sign. So even though I don't care about the Hollywood sign at all, I'm always like, when tourists want to go to that or the Walk of Fame, I'm like, whatever. I'm not going to yuck your yum. But so I helped them figure out which train to take, and they were grateful. And I love being able to help people on the train figure out which train to take.
So today I'm recording this podcast, then I have band practice, and then I'm working really early tomorrow. So I'm just sleeping at work. So I was packing all of my stuff for band, podcast, and work tomorrow. And I realized, I need to catch a bus. And I left my entire pile of cables, and possibly my drumsticks too, sitting on my table at home. And so I ran out the door. I saw from down the street, there's the 7, the Big Blue Bus 7 that I need to catch. I'm sprinting. It turns the corner. It goes past. I couldn't catch it. as it was pulling up to the stop. I was not running fast enough, and it went on its way. I was dejected. I thought the world is ending. Unfortunately, the non-rapid flavor of the bus came by 3 minutes after that. So one of the few instances where schedule lumping worked out in my favor, but it was either 3 minutes or 20 minutes beyond that. And I thought I was going to have the 20-minute wait, and I did not.
It is nice when I've been in other cities. I think I might have told this story before. When I was in Barcelona, I saw my bus coming and I was like, no, and I ran, and then another one came in like 2 minutes, and I was like, oh, the bus just comes every 2 minutes here. Okay, you don't have to run ever if the bus is coming every 2 minutes.
And Ivy, how about you?
So I was originally planning for this a couple of days ago. I was like, oh, I'm going to take the Expo line and then transfer to the D line and then walk over here. But then I was like, it's raining today. I don't really feel like walking from my apartment to Expo Sepulveda. So then I was like, oh, I'll just take the Culver City 6 there, because that is usually the bus I take the most frequently. So I was like, oh, it'll be on brand for me to take that to the train station, take the E-line all the way down to, where did I get off? 7th Street in Metro Center, and then take that to Wilshire Western, and then walk here.
7th Street Metro was bustling today. When our train came through, I was like, damn, there are a lot of people. Like, I thought no one takes the non-existent public transit here, is what people say.
I know. And it was so bustling that I saw a family, they were like carrying a bunch of snacks, and one of them dropped one. And then I was like, they were looking for it. It was funny because they had dropped it under the handle where the escalator is, and then they couldn't find it. But because the angle where I was standing, I was like, it's right there under the thing.
I took the A-line the other day to South Pasadena, and it was maybe the most crowded I've ever experienced a train here. I know that's not a selling point for everyone. Some people are like, oh, yay, that good ridership. But I was like, I want to sit down. It was packed, though. Not like Tokyo packed, but it was, there were like no available seats.
That's good.
Yeah, it was, it's good it means people are taking it. And I was kind of eavesdropping on strangers, talking to strangers and all interacting. And, even with all those people, there still weren't any of the incidents that people who hate transit or live in such fear of.
My one wheel, which is usually my first mile, last mile tool of choice, or if I'm going to take a train or take a bus.
How is that in rain, by the way? I mean, how's the traction and stuff?
Traction's fine.
Yeah, okay.
Traction's fine. What I find that gets a little uncomfortable, though, is I don't have a cover for the wheel. When it rains, it just shoots water up at your legs.
Yeah.
So the bottom of my pants, like pretty much all the way up to my waist, will be soaked.
Nice brown road water stripe.
Road juice, yeah. It doesn't look great.
I mean, it was not raining very hard where I was when I was leaving, but it is always an opportunity to say that all the buses stops should have shelter.
Yeah.
And with lights, and
it would be good to have.
It would be nice to
cover.
Not be wet, and or have to have an umbrella. Insert bus stop by the Hollies, I think.
Yeah. So since my one wheel has a flat tire, so I've been taking my bike on the train lately. And I find that I'm much more frustrated because even if I fold it down, it still takes up a lot more physical space. There was a packed train the other day and I had to stand over the bike, prop it up with one leg, hold onto a top rail with the other, and try to not sway and hit the person next to me, which I was thinking, if I had the one wheel, I could just... but I'm procrastinating on fixing my tire, so that one's on me. I also saw a guy in the train recently who's been taking a full-on electric motor scooter onto the train. This guy has a powder blue scooter. I've seen him on... Sorry,
like a Vespa or like a mobility scooter?
Right, not not a Vespa, but like a Vespa, like that type of scooter.
And that's allowed?
I don't think you're supposed to be, but... Sure enough, I've seen this guy on 2 10 o'clock-ish trains, and my buddy took the train to an audition yesterday or 2 days ago, something like that, and he saw this guy hey, there was a guy with a full-on Vespa on the bus today, it was a light blue one, right? I know that guy. So yeah, the trains are getting used for sure. But so Ivy, in the grand scheme of things, how did you get to where you are now?
Ooh, okay. So this is taking me back many years. So back in 2020, 2021-ish, as we were not the peak of the pandemic, but that time where we were kind of weaning out of it. So that's when my current partner and I began dating, and he lived in Irvine at the time, and I was in Westwood starting my grad school
For
adventures.
listeners, those are in different counties.
Oh,
They're
yes.
pretty far apart. Well, listeners here will know, I guess. But yeah, a lot of people, Irvine's pretty far away.
He had a car, still has a car, and I did not have a car at the time. I do now. But I was trying to figure out how to make it more fair for him instead of him like coming all the way here to pick me up or like him always coming here. How could we both make this more fair? And then I did some research back in the day, and back then I didn't have as many transit friends or like a transit community because back then, no one in my circles really did that kind of stuff. So then I discovered Metrolink, and I was like, oh, that's one way to get from LA County to Orange County. And I think the first time I took it, I had a friend drive me to Union Station. Actually, no. This is actually a crazy story because the first time I planned that trip down there, my plan was to take, I forget which bus, but the bus to Union Station, and then from LA Union Station, take it down to Tustin, which is near where he lived, and he'd pick me up, and then we'd hang out, do whatever. But then that day, I almost set my lab on fire because I was a first-year grad student. I forgot about the story, but I was a first-year grad student, and I did not realize that one of the chemicals I was using was flammable. And I kept it near the flame because I was like trying to keep my samples sterile and all that. And then I think I accidentally like grazed it by the Bunsen burner. And then thankfully, by some miracle, I launched the tube out of my way so it didn't land on me. But it caught a little bit of the fire.
A small fire.
And, there weren't too many people at the time because it was still kind of like everyone was trying to keep a safe distance, so not too many people in the lab. But thankfully, one of my lab mates helped me like put it out, and then we had to evacuate the building. But it's okay, everybody was safe. Part of my hair was singed, but it's okay. Everybody was safe. And then that delayed me. So then I was like, maybe I should ask my friend to drive me so that I don't miss my train. So that happened. And my friend was very kind to drop me off there. And then I took my train. Yeah, that was one of my first experiences taking Metrolink.
Is there a Metrolink station in Irvine, or you went to Tustin and then he picked you up?
Oh, great question. So there's Tustin, and then south of that is Irvine. But then he was like in the middle, but closer to Tustin. So that's why we went to Tustin. And then, that was my first crazy experience. But from then on, much smoother commutes the future weeks and months and stuff.
What did you think of Metrolink when you rode it for the first time?
I liked it. I liked how it was very spacious. I guess like granted, ridership was lower back then, but it was spacious, and I liked how there are like tables if you want to work, if it's like a longer commute. I liked sitting on the top level to see all the views.
Me too.
So pretty. I love the Orange County line. Obviously very sentimental for me. Also, during that time, the buses were not collecting fares. So
not even the buses.
Yeah, the buses.
Like,
So Metrolink
was.
But then one time I entered a what are they called? Those customer appreciation giveaways. I got 10 free tickets.
Oh, nice.
So that was fun. So my entire thing was free for a while. And that's kind of what started everything. And then
Maybe you should talk a little bit about what you do, because now that we know that you are in a lab and working with chemicals and stuff,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Sometimes people have like seen my transit stories and they're like, wait, your PhD is not related to that? I'm like, no, it's just my hobby. So currently I am doing my PhD in environmental engineering at UCLA, which is where I also went for undergrad. So in undergrad, my major was molecular biology, and I did a minor in environmental engineering, but enjoyed my minor more than my major. So I went into that for grad school. So that's kind of like a broader picture of where I got to where I am today. I joined my lab in undergrad because I was really interested in the minor, and one of the grad students in the department was looking for a mentee at the time. So I emailed her, and kind of the rest is history because I stayed through in that same lab with the same mentor throughout for grad school. And what I was happy about was that the lab that I joined was kind of like a combination of both my undergrad major and minor, because it was an environmental engineering lab that had kind of a molecular biology focus. And what we do is something called bioremediation, which I don't know if y'all have heard of it before.
Let's learn about it.
Okay. So to break down like bioremediation, remediation is using living things to clean up things like groundwater, drinking water, air, soil, whatever. So we use microbes, bacteria, fungi to clean up contaminants in groundwater. So a lot of groundwater contaminants come from improper disposal when things are being manufactured. The chemicals that I look at are 1,4-dioxane and chlorinated solvents. So 1,4-dioxane is something that's used in a lot of personal care products like laundry detergents, shampoos, cosmetics, and nowadays I try to only use laundry detergent that doesn't have it. And then chlorinated solvents, often used in dry cleaning, stabilizing mixtures when walls, panels, appliances, and things are built. But yeah, anyways, this stuff, short story is it gets in the ground, it's bad, so we use microbes to clean it up.
That's super interesting and totally, up my area of interest. I'm in the Los Angeles Mycological Society, so we sometimes talk about, we're mostly like amateurs and stuff, but we're all fans of bioremediation and using fungi to clean up stuff. But also, you're born and raised in Los Angeles County?
Yes, county, yes. I was born and raised in Alhambra.
Okay. So our second Alhambra native, Katie Chan.
I guess, she and I kind of have a similar trajectory. We know each other.
Oh, okay.
So we both grew up in Alhambra and then went to UCLA for undergrad.
Oh.
So
I have So speaking of UCLA, I had a little bit of a sustainability crisis recently. So one of my many jobs is I do sustainability on productions. So we'll physically sort all of the waste that's made. We'll implement reusables, talk to the crew who often don't want to hear about composting and recycling, but we talk to those grips anyway, and salvage as much as we can. I was doing a production a while ago at UCLA. And I had some interactions with UCLA's sustainability staff that was on site. They had set up a bunch of, recycling and composting bins, and they were very particular about their bins. And, for the vendor that I work with, we'll set out our, stuff. And they were being very, I don't know, like testy about what goes in those bins. And I did some digging around on campus afterwards because we were not allowed to land our own dumpsters on campus, which usually we'll, get a compost dumpster, get a recycling dumpster. Great. We could not do that for this event. And I looked and I saw that UCLA uses Athens for their dumpsters. Athens is also the facility that we haul our waste to. So we're using the Athens recycling and composting guides, right? UCLA, though, the utensils and forks that they were giving out are compostable plastic utensils and forks, and Athens doesn't process those.
Oh.
And so I got into, and I'm not proud of this because normally I'm just like, yeah, okay, whatever, hang loose, friend. And I was just raring to battle today, and I got into a little bit of a discussion with UCLA's sustainability person, and talking about like, what kind of things we can compost, what kind of things we can't compost. And yet here they are, a big school like UCLA, having all of these compostable plastic utensils that we can't process in the city of LA. Or at least Athens doesn't process all of these utensils. So it's just greenwashing. Like, what are we doing this for? And also, side note too, I've been looking into maybe applying to grad school.
Ooh.
And I was thinking, because UCLA is close, maybe I'll look into UCLA. Like, the campus is close, it's right there, blah, blah, blah.
And they just got a pedestrian plaza not too long ago.
They did, Broxton Plaza.
But after that interaction, I don't know if I want to now.
My story is the reverse. My first year of grad school, I almost applied for an internship that was looking at sustainability on production sets. But I think the only reason I didn't apply was because the scheduling didn't work out for me. But the person still encouraged me to do an informational interview. So I did learn a little bit about the process. So it's cool that you've done that.
I feel like it's probably the best job for me to do on productions because I'm kind of over the the industry, move up in the ranks, be a director, be this, be that. It feels so heartless. Film people are the best, the kindest people. All of the sliders are up to 10s with film people. They're the kindest. They're also the most aggressive and all of that, right? I've been studying sustainability at Santa Monica College for a while, and I do a bunch of volunteering with Surfrider. And so I wanted to do work that has a little bit of meaning and do a little bit of good in the world. So getting into sustainability on productions is just, it feels like, one, it allows me to pay my rent, which is great. And two, it feels like it's one of the few jobs on production that has lasting impact. Because if you're working on a commercial, maybe you'll spend a week and however many millions of dollars making I don't know, a 30-second nachos commercial that people are going to forget about as soon as it airs, you know? The food that we donate to the Midnight Mission in downtown, like people eat that stuff and people like continue living from that work.
I just want to speak in favor of nacho commercials because I remember 3D Doritos, and that was probably like 30 years ago. So don't undersell nachos. It was in a laundromat, and there's like splits involved and stunts, and yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what. So I guess like from a sustainability perspective, looping back into a car-free kind of discussion, right? I find that with the sustainability program at SMC, I'm one of the few people that is always harping up in class discussions, like, what about transit? Like electric cars aren't going to save the planet, or they're not going to save our land use problems.
Right.
So have you had any interactions from a sustainability perspective with like intersecting maybe the work you do in grad school or elsewhere with being car-free, getting around?
Ooh, good question. I do agree. Like a lot of times transit is left out as the main topic of sustainability.
And housing, I feel like they're very siloed sometimes.
Yes.
I'm like, oh my God, all these things are intimately connected.
Like the infrastructure stuff is not often
Right.
talked about. I feel like the thing with the spaces I've been in is that people are very supportive of it, but no one actually goes out and does it. That's my issue. Because they're like, oh my gosh, you do all this transit stuff? Awesome. Go you. And then I'm like, come join me. And they're like, I'm good. Yeah.
Well, I mean, because you said you were born and raised in Alhambra, right? And your parents are immigrants?
Yes, my dad grew up in Hong Kong. My mom grew up in Vietnam. But ethnically, we're all Chinese. But
You really do have Katie Chan parallels.
oh my gosh, that's funny.
Her parents are ethnically Chinese. One's from Hong Kong and one's from Vietnam.
Yeah. I didn't realize until I heard her story on the podcast. But yeah, my dad's taking me to Hong Kong.
That's funny.
Yeah.
We've had multiple parallels like that where someone's like, wait, I feel like this person is me.
Yeah. But my dad's taking me to Hong Kong later this month for the first time.
Well, that's what I was going to.
Yeah.
So you've never been to Hong Kong?
I've never been to Asia in general, but coincidentally this month we're going. I'm excited.
It's a transit place. Yeah, that's because I do remember asking Katie what about like transit in Hong Kong and transit in Vietnam. Well, how long ago did they leave? I guess it's probably changed so much.
Probably. They
since,
left in the 70s, 80s, something like that.
So Vietnam especially probably had.
Is this their first time going back to?
Yeah, since my dad. So it's just me and my dad, but my dad has not been since he had me here.
Oh, wow.
Or they had me here,
Yeah.
so it'll be nostalgic for him.
Yeah, but also like it also has to be bizarre to go back to some place you grew up that looks so different too. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I don't know. I've heard this from other immigrants that they come here and then, you know, the idea of where they came from is kind of frozen in their mind, and then you go back to a place like for Koreans that go back to Korea after 40 years or whatever. It's like, oh, this is very different now. You know. I don't know. I grew up in Missouri, so I'm not like I'm a transplant, but I do still have dreams there, and they're all set, you know, in the world of Missouri that I grew up in, and I don't know.
Has it changed much?
It's probably just suburbanized. I mean, because when we moved to where we lived as in the 70s, 1978, there were no people around. I mean, there was a house at the end of our driveway across the road, and then there was a farmhouse with grain silos, like a 3-mile walk through the woods. And then if I look at it at Google Earth, it just looks like, I don't know what they call them, but there's this style of country like McMansion basically where it's meant to look like a farmhouse where everything was kind of built at different times. So it's like this part's brick and this part's vinyl siding and they're all different roofs and then a big fallow grass lawn. And we didn't have that. I mean, my mom planted like 200 trees around because our house was like in the middle of what had been some kind of probably a corn or soybean field until that point. And then, she planted like 200 trees and we dug a pond and we tried to, you know, tall grass prairie. We did like burns that got out of control once. So it was
Eric,
a lot of
did you start the Palisades wildfire?
No.
I did. I'm just kidding.
With her lab.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, there was a beaker found at the origin.
This is entirely a joke.
No, but my mom was really big into trying to restore it to something a more, you know, natural quote unquote state. But when I look at it now, like on Google Earth, it looks very suburban.
Do you have any adventures planned for your trip back?
I think we're going to visit my dad's friends. So we don't currently have any relatives who are still there, but a lot of my dad's like old coworkers and classmates are still there.
Wait, how long are you going to be there? I'm just vicariously like travel.
Oh, no
excited.
worries. I appreciate that. A little over like a week and a half. Not too long.
I feel like 10 days is like the perfect
Is it?
amount
Yeah.
in a
Because I feel
city.
like if I'm away too long, I'm going to be nervous about stuff I'm not like my responsibilities back here.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I don't know, just whatever my dad has planned. We'll see.
You'll have to post lots of transit
I
stuff while
will,
you're there.
yes.
So thinking about reaching out to your friends about going on transit, this is something that pops up for me a lot because I'm also like, yeah, let's take the train down guy, right? What have you found to be effective in coaxing your friends onto the train?
I think my biggest success story is with my boyfriend because I forgot to mention, like earlier I mentioned he used to live in Irvine in Orange County, but
And I have to say Irvine is I explore neighborhoods for, I write about that. And when I went to Irvine, I borrowed a car from a friend because I was like, how am I supposed to get around Irvine? It is one of the most car dependent.
they built that in, like the car
It is
so
by
bad.
design. It's such an interesting, I mean, I don't want to go too into it, but Irvine is like, it is a master plan community and it has, it's weird because it's like, divided into villages or whatever, basically subdivisions that have, it's like this one's sort of mock Tudor and this one's sort of Spanish colonial or whatever. But it's by design meant to be walkable and so that you wouldn't need to leave your village because every village has the same thing, but what they have as amenities is like a strip mall and a fountain or whatever, or a tiny park in the middle.
Yeah.
So it's like, you don't need to leave this village to go to that village because it's just more of the same. So it's kind of like mind-numbingly like
It's very nice and very
repetitive.
utopian, but the bus system is not. Because I have a story where one time my boyfriend and I had gone to the Spectrum Center, the big outdoor mall, and when we left, I realized I had left a special bracelet that my aunt had given me. And I was like, oh no, I need to go back and get it. And I decided to take the bus because I was like, I don't want to drive there twice in the same day.
Was it OCTA or do they have their own?
It was, OCTA, whatever the really pretty sky blue bus is.
OCTA is like blue and orange. I've actually never taken one.
Oh.
Orange County Transit.
Oh, anyways.
I've seen them when I'm down there.
But I took one and then I was like, okay, I need to plan this because once I get there, I have either I can take my sweet time and then wait like an hour and a half for the next bus, or I can rush there, hopefully find my bracelet in like 5 minutes and then run out. And thankfully I found it and I got back
nice.
fine.
That's good.
But like if not, I would have had to wait like an hour and a half.
My book that I left on the bus never came back. Or
No.
hasn't yet. I ended up reading it on like Libby and finishing it. So
Okay, the original question of the success story. So I think my boyfriend has always been what is the opposite of a fan? Like a non-fan? A hater of driving because, he doesn't like it. He doesn't like traffic. He doesn't like driving. But unfortunately, most of the places he's lived his whole life are really car dependent. And also with like his commute for work and all that stuff.
did he grow up somewhere other than Orange County?
Yeah, he grew up in Northern California in Santa Clara. And then Irvine, where he went for college at UCI, was also, that, like you all said, very car-dependent city. And then he moved, midway through our relationship, he moved to Torrance, which is also kind of not great.
Disappointingly car-dependent. Torrance.
Yeah.
Torrance was founded by someone that was on the Pacific Electric Railway Board, Jared Torrance, and it was a transit suburb. That's what it. And then there's a train line. You can walk across the train bridge to where the train line that was built for workers there. I believe it was a steel plant, but now it's Honda.
Ironically.
So Torrance is now the largest city in Los Angeles County that doesn't have even an inch of transit rail going through it.
Over like half a year ago, he moved in with me and we live together in West LA now where there is a lot of transit and he's really enjoyed like sometimes on the weekend we'll do like little transit trips together. And he every time like he loves it because one, he doesn't have to drive. Two, he has me as a navigator and he's like been interested in learning more about the process. Something he's been really into lately is rollerblading because I got him. He really wanted rollerblades for his birthday last year. So I got him a pair and then he was like, wait, what if I get you a pair and I teach you how to blade and you teach me how to transit? I was like, oh, yeah, that's a deal.
But does he ever use rollerblading to go anywhere? Like, or is it, because I guess that, my definition of active transit and mass transit has broadened as we've been doing the podcast, because I used to always make a point of saying like walking, cycling, taking the bus, taking trains. And then I heard someone talking about using a skateboard as transit. I was like, and skating. And then scooters kind of became more popular. I was like, and scooting.
And then Kyle rolls up on the one wheel.
Exactly. He goes on the one wheel. You have a pogo stick.
Oh yeah, my pogo stick. Okay, so
And then rollerblades. I'm like, okay, there's too much.
Pogo stick.
Oh yeah, we were supposed to touch on that.
Is that viable transit?
Unfortunately, no. But
What's the furthest pogo stick journey you've ever gone on?
like the same sidewalk. But
The same panel of sidewalk. Just
well,
up and down.
what we do a lot is he and I often like take transit to a park or something, explore different parks, and then he'll bring his blades, I'll bring my pogo stick, and then we'll just practice our respective modes of entertainment.
Nice.
And workout. We don't really use it to travel anywhere because I think he's still learning, and I'm not really planning to use a pogo stick as transport. It's more just like a fun random thing that I do.
I would imagine off-road pogo sticking might be kind of fun.
Yeah.
If you could jump up and down
Those
rocks.
big ones, I have like a what is it called? Like a amateur tame one, just for fun. But maybe one day, those extreme ones.
E-pogo sticks. Is that a thing? Are there electric pogo sticks?
When I was in, I want to say 3rd grade, my dad got me a pogo stick for Christmas. I'd never asked for a pogo stick. I was not at all an active kid, so I don't know what he was thinking. The pogo stick did look very cool. It was a big yellow and black pogo stick. I'd never assembled it though. So there was this pogo stick box at my dad's place for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years just sitting there. Never used it, but it did look very cool.
Is it still there?
I don't know. I'll have to ask him. Dad, if you're listening, I remember that pogo stick.
We're coming for it.
Oh, I have a question about are your parents car light or car free, or is anyone else in your family?
So I think when my mom and her sisters first came here, they rode the bus a lot. I think it was the 76 a lot between Monterey Park and El Monte because our family used to have a shop in Monterey Park, and that's how they would, or my grandma's house was in El Monte, so that's where they lived, and they would go back and forth between there on the 76. And I remember like recently actually they told me like, oh, I know you ride the bus a lot. I have a bunch of tokens. And I was like, oh, they're not valid anymore, but that's so cute. So there's
Just
that.
take them and be like, oh, these will come in super handy bus tokens.
I collect them as a little memento. And then
I remember paper transfers, I believe. That was a thing.
Yeah, I think so. And then on my dad's side, I don't know if our relatives from my dad's side down here are pretty transity, but I know the ones in NorCal, because a lot of my dad's side of the family lives in San Francisco, where it's very transity. So they take the bus a lot up there. And whenever I'm up there, they're like, oh, we missed the bus. The next one's in like 5 minutes. I'm like, 5 minutes? That's nothing compared to here.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but a little side story about my parents being more open to transit was in 2023, I believe. My dad had a little situation where he wasn't able to drive for like pretty much the whole year. And usually my mom doesn't have her license, so usually it's my dad driving us everywhere, which I kind of appreciated growing up because I actually got to learn a lot about like geography and the 10 freeway and like all that stuff just by being in the car. So I feel like a lot of little kids didn't have that experience. But then because my dad couldn't drive about a year and a half ago for that long stretch, he was open to transit a lot more. And he started riding the 260, which is near our house and goes to a lot of the places that he usually goes to. And it was really nice to see him like kind of do that stuff independently on his own. And also that same year, I don't think it was related to him not being able to drive, but I think my parents let me get a car because they were worried if I was ever in the lab late at night, if the buses weren't running by the time I needed to go home. Having another option would be nice if I could plan for that. But ever since I got the car, I think I wouldn't necessarily say I'm proud of having the car, but it's nice to have it to be able to help others if ever needed, because my parents are older, so it's nice to be able to have a method to take them around if ever needed, and also the choice of whether I want to drive or transit, which before it was always transit, but now it's like I feel good about having the choice to decide, you know?
You kind of sound like you use the car as like a last resort instead of a first resort.
Yeah,
you know?
a last resort, and also a way to kind of pay back and pay it forward to all the people who drove me in the past, you know?
So I recently got a Vespa.
Oh, nice.
I'm kind of kicking myself because I thought that I needed this maybe more than I actually do. For a lot of productions, I have to get to Glendale pretty early in the morning usually. But I realized though, I could just go in a few hours early, take a nap, and then great, they're good to go. I don't actually need this. But in the meantime, when I was getting my motorcycle license and learning how to ride, which I'm still doing, I realized, it's actually a lot easier to do the bus to do this. And I'm getting more sleep, and that's good for everybody. So now though, I'm at a point that I've been doing the only ride that makes sense for me to practice with the Vespa right now is from my apartment to the YMCA, which is like a mile and a half. But it's so frustrating because riding the Vespa is incredibly fun. However, it's a lot faster if I take my pedal bike. Because I can just go in the bike lanes. I can cut across the sidewalk. I know you're not supposed to do that, but I do it anyway. So, but I can get there a whole 8 minutes faster if I take the pedal bike than if I have to put on my road armor, get out, go and do it. So I think I will soon need to practice. I don't know, maybe like longer
Sometimes
adventures.
it is faster to not use like
To not use a motor.
You know what? I got a ride home from a friend yesterday who was driving, and because it was raining, and she was like, "No, come with me in the car, because then we can talk for a second." But we barely could because it was literally it's like a long block from it was from the Trader Joe's to my house, and because we both ran into each other there, and I asked her like, "Are you walking home? Because I'll walk with you." And she was like, "No, I drove. I'm one of those people." And I was like, "Oh my God." I told her I might mention it. I was like, she's like, "Come with me." And I was like, "Okay, then you can feel like I am giving people rides home so they don't."
That's fair, yeah.
I'm like, "I have an umbrella. I'm fine." No.
Yeah, I'm also we're in the 2 months out of the year when it rains in LA right now. And I found
I love it.
Yesterday I decided I am now a regular rain lover.
I love rain. Yeah.
I love it.
maybe it was, I think this was maybe during the pandemic or right after things first opened. Pardon that. My day of technical errors and gaffles continues. The microphones, the battery just died on my recorder, and so we had to stop. But I think we were saying
we were having a little bit of a conversation off mic about another way of kind of getting people to come around to transit, because when Ivy goes to Hong Kong with her dad, they're not renting a car to get around Hong Kong.
Woo!
Which I've never heard of anyone doing that, but or renting a car in a city like that. But which is one of the things that I always tell people, though, when they say like you have to have a car, or they talk about, I'm like, I said this is a thought experiment. What is your favorite city outside of North America? Think of that you've ever visited, and then think of how hard was it to find parking there? And you're probably going to be like, I haven't driven in my favorite city outside of North America, because why would you do that? You know?
the only thing I can offer to that is the only city I have been that is not in the continental U.S. is Honolulu, and that did not have. The skyline won't be ready there for another 10 years or so.
They have a train that's
They have a train line, right? Right now, I think the extension that goes to the Honolulu airport is supposed to open up, I want to say this year or next year. The first phase, I think, goes from, I don't know, maybe it's like Pearl Harbor somewhere inline. Mm-hmm. Then there's the airport line, and then the final leg of it goes into downtown Honolulu and the city proper, but it's not going to be open for a little while yet.
Buses in Oahu are pretty good. Did you?
I did. This was long before. I have so much transit regret.
Well, I will say, like Kauai is much more. There are islands that are super hard to get around without a car. But you usually, when I'd never rented a car when I went to them, I've just hired a driver.
So my trouble is this: I worked a job from 2015 up until 2022 where I would travel around a bunch. I worked for a yoga website, and I would go around, film a bunch of content with yoga teachers, blah, 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 blah. But because the office was based in rural Honesdale, Pennsylvania, where we still have horses and buggies and goats to get around.
That's not a car.
Yeah, true.
That's true. Well, the town that this place is based in is surprisingly walkable for a rural town of 5,000 people tops.
But a lot of traditional small towns are pretty walkable.
I mean, there's a Walmart there now, but like the rest of it hasn't been updated since 1890 or something like that. So it was very walkable. And I think living in that small rural town turned me on to car-free living. So I intentionally got an apartment that I could walk to the office. So I essentially lived in downtown Honesdale, but downtown, which is like the only there's like a hot dog shop that's open till 11 p.m. and a couple of diners. But But for that, like I just wouldn't drive. You know, I would have to drive if I want to drive an hour if I wanted to go to the movies or if I wanted to go to a concert or something like that. But most of my day-to-day stuff I just did walking or taking my little tiny Vespa up in back in Pennsylvania. But when I was working for this company, because everyone was from like rural Pennsylvania and we were based in rural Pennsylvania, no one thought to do transit or to do any of that stuff. So I did a bunch of filming trips to San Francisco, to New York, to San Diego a bunch. I had spent so much time in different cities that have transit, and I just didn't know to take it because I was so locked in. My car brain was so strong at the time.
But going overseas, I feel like most people probably don't rent a car. I know someone that was, he complained about Paris because he said the parking was so bad. And I was like, you had a car in Paris? That is insane to me. It's like walkable, bikeable, train takeable.
I don't know. Maybe this is just some like, I don't know, latent depression coming out of me. But I feel like I don't think I'm going to get overseas this incarnation, and I would very much like to, but I just don't think it's going to happen, or at least it hasn't happened yet. But boy, oh boy, would I ever love it if the Measure M projects could get accelerated so we can have that experience here.
In the recent regime speech about when they weren't denigrating refugees and immigrants, they did say that we were going to bring back shipbuilding. So maybe you can get on like a ocean liner when we turn back the clock to the 1915 or whatever. And
I feel like I could swab a good deck.
and not, or be in steerage down with the Leonardo DiCaprio or whatever. Wait, so have you been overseas anywhere that you rented a car?
So other than Hong Kong in a couple weeks, I will not have gone anywhere outside of the, what did you say, North America? US.
I like to do that because if you go to Canada, a lot of times you're like, you might rent a car or drive
true.
up there.
Other than that, my family went on a cruise to Mexico when I was younger. So not transit, but it was not a car.
Yeah.
It's
mass transit of a sort.
To Kyle's point about not knowing transit in different cities, I also didn't know until I think grad school was where I got to travel more, because growing up didn't travel a lot because my family was like lower income, so we kind of just stayed home and enjoyed, the comfort of home. But grad school and conferences have given me a chance to see a lot of different places, and I have a fun list on my phone of all the different lines I've ever taken everywhere.
Oh, wow. What's your favorite hidden gem transit line?
In LA or in general?
In general.
Ooh.
Or both.
Both. Yeah, both.
Ooh. That's a good question. Like, what's considered a hidden gem?
Well, one of the good Ask Us Anything questions we had, I think it was Severin that asked what transit line you would take friends visiting Los Angeles on to show them. And we both said the E line.
I agree.
Because
either the E line or, like, recently the C line has been really pretty. When you get to that area, like, kind of near LAX, where it's like a bunch of, like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's very scenic.
Yeah, when it starts going a little bit down into South Bay, right?
Yes,
yes. Yeah. There's some like public art and it's kind of quiet.
I took the A line down to Long Beach when I was doing motorcycle safety course.
Ooh.
And I was surprised at how scenic of a ride.
Yeah.
Well, the part where it's elevated, like anywhere looks good from up above.
Yes,
I feel like.
I agree.
Because you're going over some kind of industrial warehouses and stuff, and you're like, yeah, but I'm up in the air.
I like the roulette that you get with train stock on the A line, because you never know if you're going to get like the modern, I don't know, Brettas or whatever. But then you have the older cars that have center facing seating.
Oh yeah, I'm still waiting to ride those new things that launched in downtown. They said.
Yeah,
what are they called?
The new ones are the center facing. Yeah.
On the A line though, because those looked a lot older.
I've never been on.
I think I have a picture of it I could share.
Okay,
I could share with you.
I've never been on an old train in Los Angeles as center-facing aisles.
Yeah,
the Brettas are from the 90s, I think.
Yeah, whatever these trains were, it was not the E-line configuration, because we only run one kind of car on the E-line. The A-line has a mixed bag.
There's the light rail ones, and then there's the heavy rail ones, and then there's ones that sort of do a bit of both,
Yeah, I'm sure there's someone on the Fans of Los Angeles Metro Facebook book.
There's someone pulling their hair out right now, some train nerd who's like, no! You're all wrong. I had someone write to me once from the UK asking me about train stock on Metrolink. Like, do they still run the? And I was like, I'm the wrong guy to ask. I don't care about train stock or livery or whatever. Like paint jobs. No, I'm just trying to. I'm more about, is it comfortable and where am I going?
Oh, I think hidden gem, like not line wise, but the regional connector artwork is beautiful. And like I like showing. One time I took my students on a field trip via transit, and I showed them the huge,
The really tall,
the
mosaic.
Grand Ave Arts,
Mosaic, right?
Bunker Hill,
Yeah.
whatever, that super tall thing.
Yeah.
And they were impressed.
Does your family have any stories about running a shop and using the bus while they're running a shop?
Ooh. I think kind of like I was saying earlier, my aunt would go to and from home and the shop on the bus. But I don't know if they ever had to carry stuff or whatnot, but maybe.
Yeah, I'd be interested, and maybe this is something to put out for listeners too. I would love to hear an episode, or maybe to talk to someone who is like a small business, a brick and mortar business owner who is car free, because I'm sure it must happen someplace, right?
And what years were they running the shop? Was it pre-Metro or post-Metro? Metro started 93?
Oh, cool. I actually didn't know that, but that's post, because they started, I think, the year I was born, so 97. And
Oh, cool.
Had it until 13, 14.
Okay. So yeah, Metro, firmly in the Metro
era. Yeah.
I think something that I heard on a different podcast was they spotlighted small businesses that were accessible from certain transit routes, which I think is awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I go to a lot of urban sketchers meetups, and so that is a whole bunch of watercolorists will descend on a local location, like the UCLA Botanical Gardens.
Yes, great place.
And so we'll all just descend on a location, bust out your sketchbooks, wander around for 2 hours and paint. Then everyone comes back, throw your books in a pile, and we talk about the art. And I think I'm the only person who takes transit to these things, because whenever they post it, they're like, well, here's your parking, here's where you go to blah, blah, blah. And my response is always, well, what for the bus lines? What for the train connections?
That's why I always bring that up with when directions say here's how to drive there. And I'm like, everyone uses GPS that drives. Like who is this for?
Yeah, exactly.
The person that doesn't use GPS, that's just like, okay, mental map, tell me how to get there.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're fine. Tell us what buses, because that just puts it in your mind, I've
seen a couple UCLA sustainability events where they put bus routes now. So I appreciate that.
Nice.
More people should follow that lead.
I feel a little better about UCLA's sustainability if they're.
I'm not directly connected to them, so no hard
She's
feelings.
speaking on behalf of UCLA.
I'm still salty from my interaction
mole.
at work. Yeah, but if they're putting up bus lines, that maybe I'll consider
has
it.
its own transit system, or no?
It has the UCLA Bruin bus, so that's more so to get from campus, from different parts of campus buildings, and to the different housing, like the dorms and the graduate housing, whatnot. But the stops are not super close together. So if you don't get off here, you're stuck for a while.
Is it free?
Yes, it's free.
Because when I was at the University of Iowa, I used to sometimes ride the CAM bus for free as entertainment, on just in the evening, just I'm gonna ride this free bus around and just look out the window and stuff. So maybe I was always leaning towards that, because I didn't have a card then, but it also just it's just funny to me, when we were talking about also about in the previous episode with Danny, we were talking about dating without cars and car-free couples and car-free singles and stuff, and
it's possible.
And since thinking about
did it.
that, I was like, oh, I've dated multiple people that didn't have cars, and I never thought about it.
So Ivy, did that play into your relationship at all with having the train rides, transit
someone
rides?
who's living in a different county?
Yeah, in a different county.
I think it was tricky at first, but I think once we developed kind of a routine where we would take turns going to each other and all that stuff, it was totally fine, because I loved the train and he appreciated not having to always come here. And he also liked the train too. And we were saying how one day we will take our engagement photos at the Tustin train station.
Is the Tustin train station nice? There are some really nice orange the old, the ones that are historic.
Yeah, the Santa
really
Ana one's
pretty
very like
station.
historic. I think
Yeah.
Tustin, like there's not a lot that goes into it, but it's nice and it's nostalgic for us.
So a question that came up in the last episode is someone asked Danny, our guest hosts a podcast. It's AITA Pod. Am I the asshole? And he was debating with his guest whether having a car or not having a car is a turnoff.
Or a deal breaker, like a
or is a
just
relationship
I
deal
would-
breaker.
'cause I think she said she wouldn't date anyone that didn't have a car. She's like, "Are you kidding me? No,
I think
no
the
way."
reverse. Yeah. Or well, I guess no hard feelings either
Yeah.
way, but if you don't have a car, green flag.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, because some people really do have to have a car, But if you don't, I would be like, "Oh, good, you're functioning without a car." Like,
Yeah, it's interesting looking at snap reactions that I hear from people. Some of I was arguing with my best friend from back in Pennsylvania, childhood best friend, and when I told him, he was like, "Yeah, great, you're going to get a car, you're going to do this, blah 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 blah." And he's also like a teamster or something like that, so the surliest salt of the earth kind of guy. And when I told him like, "Yeah, I'm actually not going to get a car, I'm going to get a Vespa," and he was like, "What? Like, you're not 12, blah, blah, blah. You're not an anime character." Like, Bill, I beg to differ. I guess,
are an anime character.
Yeah. The way that I think about car ownership and the rest of it is just like a responsibility thing, that if you can get yourself around and if all of your needs are met, why does it matter the mode you take to get where you're going?
Exactly.
As long as the rest of your ducks are in a row.
If I were embarking on a relationship with someone, they said, "I have something kind of messed up to tell you," and then you're like, "Oh God," and then they're like, "I get around on bus and on foot and riding a bike," it would be like, "Oh."
I feel like
Okay.
if you do
It's
not
really dark.
if you do not have a car, that means some good qualities are you're good at planning, you're good at navigational intuition. And my boyfriend always says like
Rolling with it.
Yeah, he's always like, "Oh, it's so romantic because I got to say I picked her up from the train station back in the day,"
It is romantic.
Does your boyfriend commute now?
He does with his car, but only because it's like without the car from West LA to South Bay, unfortunately, there's no like quick way for him to
Not
get there.
yet.
Yeah, not yet, right?
Yeah.
He's like waiting for something to open and he's hyped for that, but I don't know if that's happening anytime
Because
soon.
you said he's in Torrance, right?
His job's in Torrance,
His job's
yeah,
in Torrance.
yeah.
Because there is the South Bay train extension has been in the works forever. And there is there are so many, down in the harbor area, which is like east of the South Bay on the San Pedro Bay, there are all these old freight lines. There are a lot of abandoned right-of-ways,
Yeah.
like train right-of-ways.
Yeah.
And this is totally nerdy, but I will look at the South Bay extension and be like, it could go from here along this abandoned right-of-way to Long Beach, and then they could connect the
Yeah.
A-line to, and I'm just like, that would be so, because Torrance is a really nice town, and like the old town Torrance is very
So
walkable
cute,
and
yeah.
charming. And you're just like, why can't you just be on a
I know.
train line?
I love like Torrance Bakery and
yeah,
like
there's so
all
much
those
stuff.
areas.
Do you know about Torrance? I mean,
I know nothing about it. I was going to
I'm
ask.
going to say a lot of people probably don't, and since it's come up a few times, like Torrance is famous for having the largest Japanese population of any city on the American mainland. So after Honolulu, it's Torrance. They sometimes call it Torrance Prefecture as a joke. So Torrance, it's yeah. There was what's the there was a reality show. I'm so bad with TV. There was a reality show with in Japan, and then but when the contestants, it was like a dating show, and then they would
Love is Blind?
No, Terrace House. Okay. Terrace House, and then they would like Torrance would come up over and over because people were like, "Oh, I lived in Torrance for a while," or like, so it's a very, very Japanese city. It's also very Korean.
So how do you get to Torrance now?
Torrance Transit from the J line. That's what I would do.
I used to do the Culver City 6 and then the Torrance 8.
Yeah. Torrance Transit's, it has it's fairly extensive, the bus service. It doesn't, like a lot of those more suburban, smaller agencies, it doesn't come that often. So that's, one of the things about.
Yeah.
But you can connect, like there are Torrance buses that come from the Artesia Transit Center. If you take the J line down, I totally recommend like going to Torrance and walking around because it's like once you're there, this is really great. I wish it were easier to get here.
Yeah. I feel like that's a lot of spokes on the LA Metro wheel. Like if you go to Santa Monica, a lot of great stuff to hang out there. You can easily spend a day there. You can easily spend a day in Long Beach.
Yeah.
You could maybe not NoHo so much, but
Well, this is like a thing John Yee said about Los Angeles is that we love to drive places and then walk around. Like we love to go to this plaza or this old town or this city walk or, people go to the Americana and then park their car and then stand in line for a train that goes around in a circle in a mall courtyard. And you're like,
Could have done that on the way there.
yeah, or we love to drive to Olvera Street and then park and then walk around Olvera Street, which was created in the 1920s by just getting rid of parking. Like that was the main thing they did.
So Ivy, if you had a magic wand and could wave your magic wand and
I feel like we haven't asked that in a while.
And any transit thing happens anywhere, what would you use your transit magic wand power for?
I would use it for, this is like a really broad answer, but for everything to just be more connected where it's easier to transfer from one thing to the next. I think
Connectivity.
Yeah, LA is just really big. Because I think one thing I noticed was the other day I was bored, so I was trying to see the size of LA compared to the size of SF, San Francisco, where my cousin and a lot of people live. And I was like, well, obviously people have the perception that transit here is worse because, simply it's just bigger. It's going to take longer to get a further
I always
distance,
tell people San Francisco is about the same size, maybe slightly smaller than Carson. And then people are like, where's Carson? And it's like, exactly.
Yeah, right.
There are towns in Los Angeles County that are larger than San Francisco.
Yeah, exactly.
The Channel Islands are larger than San Francisco.
Yeah, so I was thinking about how, like, if you're in downtown, that's kind of like a mini version of, like, New York, Chicago, wherever. And in downtown, it's really easy to get around places because everything's just so close. But close and, like, there's easy transfers, but to get to the rest of the outskirts, the larger radius, it's not as possible. But maybe more like connectivity that's like radial, I've heard is a good method, like in France or wherever, from my friend who went there.
I feel like that's kind of like the future of where things are going with like the K line and, the bus rapid transit line that they want to open through Southeast Los Angeles and the San Gabriel Valley, and then the bus rapid transit line from North Hollywood to Pasadena. So more like not everything needs to go to downtown.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it will be nice when we have more. Yeah. If you can go across the valley without taking the orange line, whatever it is now, all the way down to downtown and then hopping on a Metrolink and then going like to Sylmar or whatever. Like, why did I have to do it that crazy?
Yeah.
My friend who's teaching me drums lives near the Reseda station on the J line, not the J line, the G line.
G line.
He refuses.
Gangsta line.
He refuses to let me take the G line. Every time I'm going to go up to Jamie's place, he's like, "Yeah, I'll just pick you up from the subway station."
Have you ever taken it?
No.
Oh my God, it's pleasant.
Wait, that's the one that's on my list I need to go to. And crazy to know that there's a Reseda station because I recently discovered a gelato place there that I love. So I'm gonna go there now. Now that you mentioned.
It's a bus rapid. It's like a proper bus rapid transit the whole way, not like the J line.
Yeah, this winter, I have worked a bunch of commercials where I was stationed in a parking lot that was right next to the G line, so I could watch this BRT go by the entire day.
A bus line, or a bike lane next to it too. So I've ridden my bike most of the length of the G line. I've walked the route of the G line when they were building.
There's a section of it. Is it Northridge? Maybe it's a college that's towards the end of the G line that has a big agriculture department.
Cal State Northridge?
That's it. I think it's Cal State Northridge. But
do they have a big Sanborn insurance map collection?
I don't know. I was just working a job. I was sorting their trash. I don't know. But the G line that went by there, it was in a pretty forested patch. So like you would see there was just a big cutout in the trees where this like very, I would describe it as tranquil bus lane was going through.
There are parts of it that are very, it feels almost rural. Like when you're going through the Sepulveda Basin and then, it goes through some pretty, and that part of the Los Angeles River in the Sepulveda Basin is also one of the parts that's not paved on the bottom, so trees grow up through it. So like that area in the Glendale Narrows where they couldn't, they tried to channelize it all the way, but the groundwater kept pushing up, and they're like, fine, we'll just leave this part pretty and with trees.
Yeah, I was biking down, I guess I was biking up. I guess down, up on the way, up one way, down the other way. I was biking up the Bayona Creek bike path the other day.
Yes.
And parts of that too, you get near, when you're towards the beach end of it, it's like very, nice and natural. Then between, I don't know, like Culver City, going up, like the part up by Culver City, it's like paved over and it's kind of like, not necessarily super scenic.
So part of the reason they paved the rivers was because the Los Angeles River used to flow into Bayona Creek. That was the path of it. So it flew out of the valley, or flowed out of the valley and then west across the city, and then it would fill up with debris and trees would grow, and then it would carve a different path and go down to Long Beach where it goes now, and then it went back to Bayona Creek. So they were like, this is not helpful for a growing city to have a river that just like carves completely different paths. So I think they just went a little bit overboard with channelizing it, because the areas where they didn't channelize the bottom of it, like in Silver Lake and Atwater, are not constantly flooding either. So hopefully they can take out some of the concrete at some point in the future and have bike paths along every waterway, every wash and creek and arroyo would be really nice. That would be I would love like a vast network of bike lanes along rivers and creeks.
At least the Big Blue Bus 3 goes near there.
What has your experience been on the Culver City 6?
Ooh, okay. So earlier this year, end of last year, they had rolled out like a new system where it was supposed to be the regular and the rapid alternating every, I think like 6 minutes. So each one would come like 15 minutes or so. And then on average, you would see one like 6 to 8 minutes and then the next one alternating. I don't think that ever actually like worked, because like y'all were talking about bunching earlier. Yeah. I think like in the mornings and evenings during rush hour, it's pretty bad. For me to go from my apartment to UCLA can take anywhere between like half an hour to 40 minutes to go 3 miles. But, I just, bring something to do on board, so it's fine. Right before peak hours and right after peak hours, it's really fast. It's like 20-ish minutes. So, yeah, and I enjoy how I think a lot of the culture at UCLA has been shifted toward, instead of pulling together for Ubers and whatnot to the airport, they've been talking a lot more about taking the Culver City 6 to the airport. And now that, the grad students had free transit for a while, just because a lot of us live in like a 3 mile or so radius from campus, and most undergrads live on campus, so they don't need to go anywhere as often. But now the undergrads have free transit as well. People have been encouraged to take that to the airport. I'm slightly sad that it now terminates at the LAX City Bus Center instead of the Green Line station, because one time I had one of my orgs, Society of Women Engineers, had a meeting at someone's apartment that was right next to the Green Line station. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can literally take this from my apartment all the way down. But that was right after they had terminated at LAX City Bus Center to prep for all the new LAX connections. So I had to transfer, but that's fine. That's my only qualm.
That goes to the Howard Hughes Plaza,
yes,
right?
Okay. The regular does. The rapid skips it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had, maybe a year or two ago, I had to go up that way quite regularly. And it was a pain trying to get on it, get back. I think it stops running pretty early, right? Or the frequency gets cut.
Yeah, I think starting, and I know this from like planning my lab experiments, but the frequency starts becoming like an hour, or like on a 45-minute hourly basis starting around 9 p.m., I think. I'd
be done at like 8:30, but I would miss the 8 o'clock bus, and then the next bus out wouldn't be until like 9:30, 10 o'clock. So then you would have to take like one of the Metro buses to transfer to a Big Blue bus to da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And it was such a hassle.
I think I respect bus operators so much because they do a great job at everything that they do. But the one thing that I cannot stand is when they leave early, especially when it's those like not so frequent buses. Yep. But I think what I've noticed, my experience riding the later ones, is that the operators are extremely nice, and they're always like, oh yeah, make sure like you get off your stop safely, and like they'll be like giving you extra time to get on and off, or if it's dark they let you wait inside. So the 6 operators are really friendly.
How have you felt on Metro, getting around Metro as like a woman? Because I know like Eric and I are both like pretty beefy guys, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is fine. But I realized that that might not necessarily be people who aren't big stocky meat monsters might have a different experience.
This is actually a conversation I've had with one of my my best friends from my lab, who's a very tall dude. Mm-hmm. And he asked me kind of like a similar question because he had heard from another female friend who was very skeptical of the bus because of things she'd heard, but she's not a regular bus rider. So it's like a lot of hearsay of like, I'm not going to ride the bus because I heard it's sketch, but you've never done it, so how would you know? And usually it's only people who have had extreme experiences who probably report that. But the regular people, like people who ride it regularly, probably have different experiences. Because I've had very positive experiences overall. Like I don't think I've ever felt like my safety was super threatened. One thing that I do is I have pepper spray and whatnot. And I think UCLA transportation, at one of their giveaways, I got like an alarm thing. But one of my secret hacks is I carry my water bottle. And usually when it's heavy, I can use it as a weapon if I need it. But yeah, overall, I feel like I've always felt like very safe, and my parents always taught me to be vigilant ever since I was little. So I just kind of follow what they tell me. Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not speaking from firsthand experience, obviously, but I feel like maybe women, it's just moving through public space in general have to, you have to be aware of, I feel safe walking through a park at night, I feel safe walking along sidewalks at night. I feel safe taking the bus at night, but someone else might feel like all of those things are equally, potentials for conflict or unwanted interactions and not just public transit. I mean, I guess the idea is that people single out public transportation because they think that's where all the monsters go.
Yeah.
They get on the bus at night and they just wait to prey on people. It's like, no, they're all over the place. I don't know.
Something my dad taught.
They're usually in your home, right? That's like what crime shows teach you. It's like anytime you watch a true crime thing, it's never like, I bet it was like a guy on a bus that she entered. It's like, no, it's the boyfriend or ex-boyfriend, husband or ex-husband. Bring him in for questioning.
I think something that my dad taught my family growing up, I'm not really sure where he got this logic from, but I think it's kind of worked. We used to visit our NorCal relatives, we used to take the Greyhound a lot. And my dad would always choose for us to sit on the, facing the front, the right side, kind of where you can kind of make eye contact with the driver if ever needed, which thankfully we've never had to do that. But for myself nowadays, my assigned seat on the bus is usually always right behind, on the right side, right before the rear door, because it's a similar vibe, and I don't know, I enjoy that seat.
Wait, have you ever taken the Banh Mi bus to Northern California?
What's that?
The shuttle, I forget what it's actually called, but it's a mostly Vietnamese service where it goes to San Jose. Is that the big Vietnamese?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in the Bay, and then it goes to Vegas, for people that like to go to Vegas.
I have not, but...
And it goes from Rosemead and probably, Westminster and Garden Grove, and then just Vietnamese suburbs, and then for the price of a ride, you also get a banh mi.
Oh my gosh, I have not, but I think my aunt and uncle took that, and we used to drop them off at the station.
If you said the name, I would. Well, a lot of times it's it picks you up at the San Gabriel Superstore or something like that.
Yeah,
it's not even a proper bus station. It's a Vietnamese business with a parking lot.
That's pretty iconic.
So we're just about at time. So Ivy, is there anything that you would like to plug? Anything you'd like our listeners to know as we wrap up? Anything else you'd like to discuss in our few final remaining minutes?
Let's see. I think nothing in the near future, but
we can come back to you if you have something you want to plug, and you can think about it. Yeah.
For me, the only thing that I have to plug right now is I just did some music stuff. This is kind of fun. I've been working on some really janky merch. So I got a pile of used blank cassette tapes at a flea market, and I've been doing.
I did a music project that's mostly video game and pizza inspired instrumentals that is called Any Pizza is a Personal Pizza If You Believe in Yourself. And so I've been working on watercolor art for these cassette tapes. So I'm assuming I'll have that up at some point if people are into very bad watercolor art of pizzas and very bad music on the jankiest of old cassette tapes. And I do that as Kyle Rebarf.
That's funny.
I'll say it's not exactly a plug, but happy birthday to HLA, which passed March 5th last year. Still hasn't been implemented much, but
Happy birthday.
yeah. But they have been working on the plans and the implementation, I believe. So I think it is still moving forward, even though it's frustrating a year later to be like, so where are all the transformational infrastructure improvements, and why have over 260 people been killed by cars in Los Angeles in the last year if we're supposed to have healthy streets now? But as far as plugs, I'm doing another. Well, it'll probably be too late, but I am doing the next of my Silver Lake Walk series on the 9th. I'll give a plug too for Streets for All is having March 19th. They're having their happy hour with United States Representative Laura Friedman, and that's at 5. And you should get involved with Streets for All if you want to. Their happy hours are a great chance to submit questions to people in politics and get them answered. And she's, pretty progressive on transit. I think people generally agree. I don't know if there's any more plugs. I'll just also say I'm excited. I haven't used one yet, but as someone who uses the bathroom, I'm excited that there are so many, I'm one of the minority, I guess, but I'm happy that there's all these Throne Labs. Is that what they're called? The company that's doing the public restrooms all around?
I believe they're just called Thrones.
Thrones. Okay. Well, they're exploding in a good way.
There's one at the downtown Santa Monica station, and I was so excited when this thing showed up. And on one hand, I am thrilled that there is now a bathroom at the end of the
We're
line.
still 57th in the U.S. for bathroom access. Oh well,
right at my home station. But also, it says something about urbanism in your city when you have to be excited about one bathroom stall opening up.
Kind of suggests that
there's
the
only
bar
one?
is low.
Yeah, it's just like one.
Oh, wow.
One stall. So that when you have to be excited about one bathroom stall opening up at an end of the line, very busy train station. And Ivy, back to you.
Yes. Okay. I think I've thought of a couple transit related, a couple not. So the first one that's transit related is I'm not officially part of any transit orgs. It's just something that I enjoy finding community with other people who enjoy this stuff. But last year during Move LA's first ever SoCal Transit Week, I planned an event I called it Dance Cardio Without the Car. Dance cardio is another hobby that I really enjoy because I feel like it encompasses a lot of it gets you to think, but also is fun, good for your health, and you get to do it with fun friends. And the studio I go to is Kinergy in West Hollywood.
I think I took a class there.
Did you?
Do they do cardio dance stuff, right?
Yeah, it's like dance cardio, mindfulness, and it's all centered around the elements, which is really cool, I think.
I think I took a class there a year ago.
Oh, awesome. Cool, yeah. But yeah, I love it because it's centered around the elements, and that's very environmental, so the whole theme. Anyway, so I planned that event, and then if they have that again, I'm hoping to do more of those to take people on transit to do fun things. And then similarly, when Kyle was talking about the train tracks earlier. My boyfriend also does music, and he always tells me, can you sample random lab sounds and transit sounds? And sometimes when we do transit stuff, we'll sample the train going by or something beeping, and then he'll put that in his music. So when he has that out, I'll
absolutely.
I'm very interested to hear that.
I will share that. But his username is I can't spell it because there's one of the E's is a 3, but his name is his name is Gabriel Joff on Instagram, SoundCloud, whatever, all the stuff.
Do you want people to follow you on social media or?
If y'all want, my username, I think I use Instagram most. My username is IYKWYK. And the idea is that, how there's that acronym IYKYK, which is if you know, you know. And then I was like, someone once told me your name kind of looks like that. So I just added a W in there because that's my last name.
We're getting the out.
Oh, okay. Whoops.
So at this point, our time at the library was up, and we were encouraged to leave by a friendly librarian. We covered Ivy's Instagram, her boyfriend's music. Final plug, Ivy hosts transit trips during grad student orientation. If anyone happens to be an incoming Bruin, you can find those at UCLA_GSRC. Also, if you're listening on the day this comes out, Eric is doing a Silver Lake walk tomorrow, April 5th. And at night on April 5th, the guest of our next episode, my good pal Alex Denny, is doing a songwriter showcase at the Unurban Coffee House in Santa Monica. It's right off of the BBB 7 on 34th and Pico, or Stewart and Pico, something like that. He wrote a lovely song, Books, Bikes, and Trains. That's going to be Saturday evening. I'll be going. Perhaps I'll see you there. As always, please drop us a review, a like, a rating. Those evil-natured robots that are definitely programmed to destroy us love when folks do that. We would love if you would DM us your episode ideas, or if you'd like to be a guest. Well, all right, our bus is here. We gotta go!